All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, February 25th at noon. And let's start with the roll call. Mary Ellen Anderson.
Julie Spiegelmeier.
Tara Alcock.
Deborah O'Gara.
Barb Fish.
And on Zoom in with us, we have John McCabe. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Do we have our sound on now? You
Yes.
can hear us?
You can hear us okay, John?
Fine.
Okay, good.
Great. Wonderful. So we have a quorum, we can move on. First, item number 2 is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion by someone to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes from October 29th, 2024.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving right along, that was a long time ago. Number 3, amendment and approval of meeting agenda. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, let's move on to an approval. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the minutes for today, February 25th.
The minutes, yes. No, this
You
is
mean the
approve
agenda,
the
sorry,
meeting
the agenda.
Approve the agenda, yes.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 4, persons to be heard related or unrelated to agenda, and I think we have John McCabe waiting patiently. Talking about the art education endowment guidelines revision, and you'll find that in your packet.
Yes.
Is it sunny down there, John?
I'm in.
Is it sunny down there? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, fine. Okay, well, all right, so, Tara, do you want to lead this discussion? I only see the one yellow fund integrity is the highlighted portion.
Yeah, so do we want to skip ahead or wait for it on the agenda? Because we've got the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we can do it in either way. It's your call.
Oh, this is on the agenda.
If John doesn't
so
mind sitting through the director's report and the program coordinator's report.
Should we ask him?
Sure.
John, would you like us to address this right now so you can move along, or would you like to
Yeah.
hear our?
What I
staff
would like to do
director's
is
report?
address this now, and at some point in the future, I would probably just wave goodbye silently. So I might,
Okay.
I'd like to kind of stick around for a little while, and then at some point, I'll just wave goodbye. Sound
Sounds
okay?
good.
All right,
Yeah, in the interest of your time, then let's address this issue now.
that'd be
You
great.
ready? Okay.
Yeah. That's great.
So it's page 14 in your packet, the
Okay,
yellow part
Page
specifically.
14. Mhm.
Okay,
Shall I read it aloud for?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
It addresses item 3, part B, section 4. And the wording, is this all new wording?
This is new
Added-
wording.
New wording added reads, to formally resolve a violation of the AEE guidelines at a public meeting of the board, the library director will include resolution of a violation of the AEE guidelines as an agenda item to be voted on by the board, and the library director will prepare, as part of this agenda item, a written report for the board and public review that documents the facts related to the AEE guidelines violation and how the violation was resolved.
So we just had Lizzie enter the meeting.
Oh, hi, Lindsay.
We didn't notice.
Hi, guys.
I heard the
Hi.
beeping. Good to see you. Welcome. We're just moved to items related to the agenda. John McCabe's addition. I don't know if you've seen the packet and his.
Yes, I have reviewed the packet.
Okay, I just read that aloud for the recording. So that everybody would know what we're adding to the AEE guidelines. And those listening in the audience who might tune in later, this regards John's art education endowment, which John McCabe has contributed to allow monies for the arts. And so we have one addition to those guidelines that have been submitted. And Tara or John, would you like to speak to what this does and why we want to do this?
Will you take the ball on this one? Go
Do you
ahead
want me
with
to take
this,
the ball?
please.
Because I can. Okay,
Well, yeah.
so John realized after our last meeting when we talked about this, is that there was a little bit of hole in the guidelines, mainly that what are the specific steps that would need to be taken to resolve a violation? Like, we really have good guidelines about what a violation is, but not so much the specific steps. And so we looked at some possibilities and agreed that doing the normal board process for resolving violations is probably the best choice. So
Okay.
putting it on a public meeting agenda, voting on it,
Mhm.
Okay,
would be the sort of the last step that would need to be taken for it to be considered resolved. John, does that sound
Just
right?
the one additional comment I would have would be that this also would involve the library director to make a report to the board about the facts that were involved and how the library director determined that it was resolved. So that would be part of that resolution, final commentary on if there ever does happen to be a violation, then that would be the process in which it would be managed, if
okay.
that all makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah, it does, and
Yes.
I appreciate you bringing it to our
Mhm.
attention that, because if something does happen and piece was missing, that. This will really help make it more complete. It's pretty
Okay.
straightforward, I think.
mhm.
Do we see
Yeah.
any downsides to adding this verbiage? Anybody?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's a great idea, and I think the more. I like the fund integrity, the whole process to me is very well done. And I think it's important in this day and age that it's spelled out.
Okay, well, do we have a motion to accept the addition of the words to the AEE procedures?
I'll move to accept the proposed addition to the policy.
And I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, all right, the motion passes. Thank you, John.
Yeah, could I make one more comment, if I might?
Sure.
When we started this, or a long time ago, it was 12, 13 years ago. The guidelines for me are something that evolved over many, many years. And I don't know, for me, as long as I'm part of this process, we'll be looking at the document and saying, oh, maybe this would help. And then I talk with the library director, and I'm very fortunate to have this library director, and discuss it relative to, well, I didn't realize that there were so many rules that apply to the library if you want to do anything. It's surprising how many things you have to think about that I don't know about. So Tara has been really helpful in terms of what makes sense relative to the guidelines and rules for the library. So again, I'm thinking of this as a process, and I'm hoping the board does too, and that should come back with something else. Hopefully it would be, I would certainly work with Tara to make sure that common sense prevails at the time. And then if it makes sense, I would present it to the board. And also it's an open-ended thing to also, so maybe somebody, you folks are there, you know what's happening. And if Tara has an idea, occasionally she'll say, hey, have you thought about this? And so that would apply to this board, of course. If you come up with something, you look through those guidelines, go, oh, whoa. This is something we might want to address. So, okay, that's about all I have to say. So, yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
You
thank
betcha.
you.
You betcha.
So any others? I don't think there are persons to be heard unrelated or related. So moving on to staff reports, part A, the director's report.
Okay, so we're gonna be closed for inventory next week, Monday through Thursday. We do this every year. Keeps things running a lot more smoothly if our only database is, reflects what's actually on the shelf. So, and we're very good at it at this point. We've had lots of practice. It goes really well. And we have a few other special projects that, in the course of daily operations, it's hard to tie them up and get them finished. So it's nice to have that opportunity as a staff. Yeah.
One comment about that, it's nice that you do it in March because it's before the book sale. So if there are books that you are going to donate to the book sale, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing it in March.
Yeah, so that's our plan for next week. Also, it gives us an opportunity to have a really, really long staff meeting because we have lots of things to talk about. We try and jam it into these
Right.
2-hour staff meetings every other month. And so it gives us a lot of time to really dig a little deeper on issues. Issues like the next bullet point. This stuff, we're all in the process of completing online de-escalation training. We found some reasonably good content because some of it can be a real snooze. This guy does a great job. I mean, he's kind of a ham, but I won't name names just in case, it's found out, but it's great because we have lots of challenging situations with customers, and sometimes we have challenging situations with interpersonal staff stuff that happens. That's pretty normal for a workplace. And so this training is giving us a bunch of new skills and tools to just kind of create a more supportive environment, not just for dealing with the public, but for how we deal with one another as well and operate as a team. So I'm actually really enjoying it. So another bit of training we're going to do is CPR, first aid. And this is exciting. It's sometimes hard to get us together for training like this. And Stephanie Payne at Parks and Rec is doing it for borough employees. And so we're going to do that on March the 25th. And that's great. It's been a few years, as you can see. 2021 is when we did it last. We're definitely overdue for recertification. You guys might not be aware, but in December, we had quite a series of problems with our mechanical system. Came in and the building was cold. And we have an automated system that controls all the mechanical ventilation systems. And apparently all it takes is a faulty sensor in the heated sidewalk to have this sort of domino effect through the whole system. And so we have a fantastic maintenance technician, Keith Anderson. And he's a lot of the time when there's these problems, I'm sort of the one who's sort of quit, if you can believe this, because I'm not qualified. I'm the one who's dealing with Siemens and the local contractors to try and make that all work. And it's been an absolute dream to have Keith be doing that for me, especially because I was on vacation when the Siemens technician came to town.
Oh, wow.
And he just understands what's going on a lot better than I ever could. So, so they came through, they fixed it. They identified the problem as a faulty sensor. And we're going great guns now. And as a result, Keith has a better understanding of what is a fairly, I would say, overly complex system. Yeah, wouldn't have designed it this way a second time.
Is that what you said?
No, that's what I would say.
Oh.
Yeah, having spent like 11 years with the system, it's a little overbuilt for our needs. But
Well, you don't know.
you don't know until you do it.
Yeah.
But it is still going strong. What else? We decided to sort of reshape what used to be our winter reading challenge. Some of you might be aware, we used to have a 1 month, 6 week or so reading challenge around this time of year. But we did it so many years, we decided that something different was in order. And Barb Stelz, she did an online class about readers advisory, which is connecting people to books. For those of you that don't know that, the library lingo, we call it readers advisory. She took a class, she came with lots of ideas out of that class and decided to do this year of reading challenge. It started on the 1st, goes to the end of the year. I think we have 45 people signed up, and every month you get prompts and then win a fun little incentive prize. Nothing big and spectacular, just little things like she's got some clever ideas like reflective vests for people who read are often people who walk. So, and the Friends are sponsoring the program, which is awesome. So it's a fairly low staff commitment way for us to sort of, and for Barb specifically, to create relationships with readers, the super readers in town, and recommend stuff. And Yeah, so it's kind of an idea.
It's really fun.
Are you in it?
Mhm.
Good,
Yeah, it's really-
good, good.
You can sign up anytime, right?
Yeah, you can sign up anytime during the year. Good question, Lizzie.
For those of us lagging.
Yeah, you just go to the library website and it's front and center.
I don't want anything, but it's really fun.
Good, glad to hear that. And the next thing is Kari's, I'll let you proceed on the,
You want me to read this?
or no, go to the next agenda item. I won't take us right there, I guess.
Oh,
Program coordinators report.
okay, then, thank you, Tara. Anyone have any questions for Tara? Regarding the report? Thank you very much, sir, as usual. 5B is the program coordinators report. Kari Peterson's.
And I'll sort of paraphrase it, paraphrase it rather than read it out loud. Many of you may know, and I'll start with the next part, which is
Right.
this, sourdough news featured, the work that Marianne and her students did in a class here, which was fantastic. They made beautiful ornaments and in December, Marianne took a trip to Washington with her niece to see the tree that was
Nice.
remarkable. So,
Very nice.
yeah,
That must really be.
yeah, it was pretty neat. And also we ended up with a group of stitchers that are meeting now. Yeah, there's one that's
I'm gonna
just
start
come out.
calling them that.
The stitchers.
That's good.
Stitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's actually, I think registration just opened on the next one, which I think it's like shamrocks.
And Marianne is doing that, is she?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
She does beautiful.
yeah, so it's sort of along the lines of that creative aging program. that
Yeah.
We were talking about in October.
Right.
So that's exciting. What else is happening in the programming world? Oren is still doing Rainforest Riders. The classes are always full. They have a waiting list. Let's see, what else? Lots of story times. The Wiggles and Giggles is sort of the way we brand the traditional library story time, which is far more exciting when Kari does it than the traditional library story time. And she also does outreach to Good Beginnings, Lincoln Haida, and the Children's Center. Some of them come here, and she also goes on site to their facilities, so that's good. We're reaching lots of kids with the story time right now, far more than we normally have, I think, at any time. Let's see, the Homegrown Conversations podcast added 22 interviews. These are the interviews that were actually conducted last spring by Tim Shumway's Alaska history class at PHS. And so there's some really unusual fun ones. If you follow us on Facebook, you'll see them there, but we also have them on the website. And so we got some amazing content for the library archives from that program. Let's see. Oh, and then the next point is about this creative aging program avenue that both Barb and Kari are interested in. And so Marion Rainey right now is one of our teachers, and we hope to get some others in the future. And let's see. We talked a little bit about Baby Raven Reads, the program that Kari does. And so that's part of a 2-year Institute for Museum and Library Services grant that is done in partnership with the Sealaska Heritage Institute. It's coming to an end in April. And so they created curriculums for public library programming, which Kari has been doing, and they've been really successful. And it's been, I mean, from what she says and from what I've observed, a very successful thing to be involved with. We're very fortunate to have had that opportunity. Kari's been able to contribute as well as gain really great skills. And yeah, we're able to do things like Baby Raven Reads in a much different and I think more enriched way than we were going into it. So it's been a wonderful program to be a part of. Kind of sad to see it coming to an end.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions about any of that stuff?
No, I think there's a lot to be proud of in there.
Yeah.
No kidding, yes. I think Kari and Barb are doing an incredible job
Yeah,
of the programming.
yeah.
And they go from little little kids up to adults and elders, and it's
Yeah.
very well done.
Yeah, and it wasn't mentioned in either of our reports, but we just had very successful, just on Friday, a team game night.
Oh,
So this is something
yes,
that we're
I
doing
saw that.
quarterly,
Mhm.
and they had a great group of teens, sounds like they had fun. And so trying to just reach out to lots of different
Yeah.
user groups.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's excellent.
yeah,
I think it's, we're getting feedback. I agree with what Lizzie said. It's just a whole, range
Yes.
and diverse set of things. I mean, somebody that lives here and not coming in and do something with the library, they're just like a hermit or something. Have to be, because there's something out there for everybody.
Yeah.
When I read the reports this morning, I was thinking that it might be fun, especially with Baby Raven Reads kind of phasing out. Is maybe doing one of the kids' reading programs out at Sandy Beach with the new, on a nice day, of course. And because PIA is gonna be installing the canoe out there, which has
Oh.
arrived. And, but I don't know when. But there's a whole new playground setting out there now, so that there's be a fun place to do a
yeah,
reading
Yes.
out
yeah.
there.
And
And
we're,
then have a playground time.
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
and we're planning summer reading program
Yeah.
stuff right now, so that'd be perfect.
Mhm.
So
I'll
that might be
mention,
fun.
yeah, I'll definitely mention that to Kari.
That would bring in the, Kinder Scout kids.
Yeah.
Probably,
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
participate and be part of
That's
it.
yeah.
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 And this just brings up something just a little more big picture, which I didn't put in my report, but it's worth mentioning, is that I was just talking to staff about this the other day, is how, use of the library has really shifted. Through COVID, we went in and had a big shift. And circulation has always been this sort of powerhouse. Checkouts have always been this powerhouse of what we do. And that, of course, during COVID went straight down because we were closed. And what we're finding as we kind of rebuild from that is that it's very much focused on, people are focused more on use of the library
Yes.
than they are of actual checkouts now. Like our meeting rooms have never been busier.
Mhm.
Attendance in programs has never been better. So it's really interesting,
Yeah.
just sort of to see that shift in how the library is used. I think we're seeing a different way that community members are using the library than we used to see. So,
Well, there's so many more, sorry.
Okay.
There's so many more ebooks that people just, you don't have to come into the library to get an ebook.
or a DVD,
Or a
because the majority of people stream.
Right?
Podcasts.
Yeah,
don't even have DVD players and those things anymore.
yeah, exactly. It's,
Yes.
so we'll see that shift continue. I mean, I really anticipate in the next 10 years, DVDs might disappear altogether. And so we'll be changing up how we use our space, and I
Mhm.
can't see what that will look like, but it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Yeah, be exciting to see.
What were you gonna say something?
What, were you talking to me?
That was, that was.
No,
not
Lizzie,
meant for
Lizzie, were you gonna add something
Oh.
in there? She made a comment and I think it got covered up.
I don't remember, but I think that what's happening at our library is so important.
Yes, it is.
For community building, for keeping, and I'm super impressed.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
I was gonna ask do we have statistics on circulation?
Not at the tip of my fingers, but I do.
Interesting.
There's certainly been a trend downward in circulation.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And, but include in that the ebooks and the
Yeah.
streaming, because that's just
Mm.
And
changing.
last time I did stats, which was last summer for our annual report for the state library, ebooks and audiobooks, audiobooks are, they're not really taking over in the way that you think they would. They're not like rising like this, and print is dropping like this. I think it's, I think a lot of people frankly are just buying their books on Kindle and
Yes.
Audible.
Mm.
I think a lot of people that just have that ability,
Mhm.
just do it, 'cause
Right.
it's super convenient.
And
It is.
And they're easier to read as your eyes
Yeah.
age, you need more light and you need a bigger print.
Yeah.
Easy to adjust.
Yeah.
It's easy to adjust.
I always check the library personally first for something I
Yeah.
wanna
Mhm.
read.
Yeah.
And then if it's not instantly available and I really wanna read it, I will get it from
Right.
Audible,
Yeah,
as a listening or
Yeah.
on Kindle.
so
But I do prefer the print, just
Me
yeah,
too.
it's tactile,
I do too.
but whatever. It's just interesting,
Yeah, it
and we,
is.
you know, it's just the way of things. It's changed a lot. I remember when I took over the elementary library, we still had walls of cabinets, including the film.
Oh,
Because the public library, I mean, the state library had gotten rid of all theirs and Kathy wanted them, so she got a bunch. They were giving them away to all the school library, anybody who wanted them, so we had all these movies that would go on a movie projector. It was fascinating, and it took me forever to let go of those.
Yeah.
It was like years of watching this cabinet just sit there and recognizing that not a single person has come to check out a movie. And then it went to cassettes.
yeah.
And then I had all the cassettes, and then I had to switch all those out and go to CDs, and now it's.
Yeah.
Well, and it's VHS tapes or beta, you know, it's beta, VHS tapes and now DVDs.
And we no longer hold CDs, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so DVDs at some point, not soon, but
Yeah,
mid-term.
DVDs at the book sale are very popular.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are on boats level.
Right. CDs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, but now with Starlink, Battlefield's out too.
well, I don't know, I'm kind of fed up because every time I pay a subscription fee for my online services for streaming. And then when I wanna watch a movie of any
Yes.
kind, you have to pay extra.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start
I know.
recollecting my favorite DVDs again, just because I wanna own it, and I want to
Right.
be able to watch it, and I don't wanna have to pay.
Right.
Streaming services
Mhm.
keep changing, we were just talking about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's maddening.
It's
Now you need a subscription for this and.
so much money. I was totaling it up and it was almost $300 a month because my husband has to have his, motor vehicle television show and his this and that, and then the sports, and then the this, and it's all specialty, and then you pay for it anyway.
Well, if you can get it online and have Starlink, that's much less expensive.
Well, I won't go there
Oh,
personally. But anyway, moving right along.
yeah.
Unfinished business. Any unfinished
Nothing.
business? Nothing? New business, art endowment, art education endowment guidelines.
We did that. We already did that.
B, annual report on library endowment.
Yeah, it's on page 17.
This is amazing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yes.
Every year.
Is John still here? Yes.
Yeah, every year I'm a little. I'm a
The
little
balance that we have in the art education endowment fund is outstanding. So thank you, John, for that.
Yeah, does everyone understand the different funds? It can be a little, Julie, if this is your first time seeing this, do you have any questions?
I think I follow.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. I'm trying to lay it all out, but it can be a little confusing because we have 3 endowment funds essentially, but 2 are bundled into the singular library endowment fund. And the third is the arts education endowment. And every year we get a spendable balance letter, and this year, if I can find it. I didn't print that one. John, can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this year the addition to the spendable balance was a little over $7,000.
Wow.
So that's what we're seeing every year.
Wow.
Great.
And it's actually going to increase, not necessarily because the investments increase in their value, but because when John makes a donation, or say when Sue Paulson made that donation to the general library endowment, like 2 years ago now, it takes 16 months for that to fully take effect.
Oh,
Like it's phased in.
Oh,
how it
okay.
takes effect. So I actually anticipate it will go up even more, even without the balance of the fund increasing. So, yeah, it's become substantial,
yes. Yes, it is.
substantial. Does anyone have any questions?
Fantastic.
Looking good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
looking great.
It's wonderful, yeah.
Alright.
Oh, one thing I really like, I think John was instrumental in this too, and that is having local artists donate the paintings like Don Cornelius did for the last book sale. And I mean, that it's not a lot of money, but it just adds to the balance of it. It's
Yeah.
just
And
amazing.
over 20 years, 50 years, it becomes a lot of.
And
Because it's. bundled with this
It
amount.
brings people into the book sale.
Yeah.
And there were a couple people who said, oh, I need to stay because if somebody outbids me, I'm gonna have that painting. So, yeah, so
Okay.
thank you, John, for doing that too.
All right, item C under new business, the fiscal year 26 general fund budget request. Want me to read that? Okay, the proposed FY 26 library budget request is attached to review and discussion. Increases over last year are largely due to increased personnel costs, both salaries and benefits. A marine passenger fee request for $15,400 is also planned to offset the cost of janitorial service for May to September.
We get that now, don't we?
We do.
Part of, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Is that reflected on here?
No, it's not. That's a good point to
Yeah.
make is that, if that's denied, then that would add $15,400 to our budget.
Got it.
Yeah, I checked with the finance director and the balance of the marine passenger fee fund is actually $168,000. So unless there's big plans for it, ours is a tiny drop in that bucket.
So it should go through.
Yeah, so
Really?
hopefully we'll be able to offset some of our expenses that way.
Good.
Yeah. You guys have any questions about the budget?
Um,
Did you have?
the thing that I was wondering about was I saw that small tools and equipment that has fluctuated a lot. And I just wondered, why was it 11,000 last year and only 3,000 this next year?
I'm glad you asked this question, Lizzie, because there's an easy answer. Last year, we budgeted quite a bit extra because we have to upgrade, I think by October, all of our computers to Windows 11 compliant computers.
okay.
And it was quite an investment. And so that's why you don't see it. And also because next year, we're gonna have all new computers. So our equipment costs, our small tools and equipment, often the bulk of that is replacing laptops and PCs. And interesting note is that we didn't actually end up spending this $11,000 that's in the budget. Because with thanks to Jody, our finance director, we ended up using what's called ARPA money.
Right.
Oh gosh, I'm spacing on that acronym.
Okay.
No, it's the American, it's the post-COVID funding. That's the
Yes.
only way I can think of describing it.
Yes.
I wish I could remember the acronym, but I can't. We ended up using that money to repurchase all of those computers and we didn't actually need
Oh,
the money, so we're able to use that money for other things in our budget that have come up, like having Siemens come and
yeah.
having to buy a new sensor and all that stuff. So it's actually created a little padding in our budget. We didn't have.
Well,
to
that's
use that.
equipment. That comes under equipment.
Yeah, although yeah, I suppose it does. So it's, that's why it is so high or was so high in the current fiscal year. And that's why it's a little lower in the proposed budget.
Okay, and then my other thing I noticed was that the repairs and maintenance went down. And in my experience, the cost of repairs and maintenance is going up.
Yeah, and so that's sort of based on the fact that we have historic, because new facility, although it's not so new anymore, we've been sort of watching that, and it has been around $20,000 to $25,000. And so I budgeted a little bit conservatively there because, referring back to the last agenda item, because if we end up with a larger ticket item, we have the endowment, the library's general endowments
Yes.
to draw on.
Yeah.
And we have not yet drawn on that, and so if we need to do something, we need $10,000 to do something, we can pull from that.
Nice.
And also, I'm trying to offset the elephant in the budget, which is salaries and benefits.
I know.
I mean, our budget has gone up, I think like $40,000, which is, it's a huge leap. And so I'm trying to offset a little bit of how
That is
high that is.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are completely outside of anything we can control. It's things like workers' comp increases, healthcare increases,
Mhm.
negotiated salary increases. So it's, and also Barb Stelz went to full-time.
right.
Which
Is
is
good.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
that
I
all
think so.
bundled together, that's the number you end up with. And so part of my strategy, if you can call it that, is to, really be very quite conservative on all of our other line items, because really the personnel budget is pretty big this year.
Well, our
Yeah.
personnel is doing fabulous work.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that we wouldn't be who we are without that. That is the most important line item in the budget, and so worth going to bat for and cutting in other areas. I think.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good questions. Anything else from you?
Nothing else,
Nope.
moving on.
Do you guys want to?
All right, do I have a motion to approve the budget?
I'll move to approve the proposed budget as presented.
And I second the motion.
All in favor?
I,
All right, I'm waiting for somebody to move it along. Okay. Being in charge.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
New
you are.
business, item D, request to display photo of Ruth Sandvik in the Sandvik room. Joseph Action has requested that the library hang a photo of Ruth in the Sandvik room. An email from Joe. And a copy of this photo of Ruth that Joe took are included for board review and consideration. When the Sandvik room was named the donor,
that's, yeah.
Mark Sandvik was consulted on recognition for Ruth. The library director recommends that if Joseph Ashton's request is approved, that it be contingent on Mark Sandvik's approval. I love the idea, and I'd love for it to be approved and have a photo of Ruth in here, whether it's this photo or one that his family would like to find instead. And it sounds like Joe was open to negotiating in his
Yeah.
email. He said he's happy with whatever and understands if it doesn't work
Mhm.
out,
Yeah.
which is very gracious of him.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any comments or?
Is Mark Sandvik a local person or?
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. It's
Oh.
Ruth Sandvik's son.
Yes.
Actually, Seattle area,
Yeah.
Washington State. Last I was interacting with him. Yeah.
He does show up at the, sometimes at Mayfest or 4th of July for the, PHS reunions.
Yeah, and Diane, the daughter, sometimes comes.
But he's available, I mean, you can contact him
I'm
to,
actually not sure. It's
Oh.
been 10 years since I contacted him, but so I'm gonna give it a
We have to
shot.
figure that out.
I have to figure that out. And why I hesitated, this kind of falls into a gray area.
yeah.
It's a great idea. Most people don't remember Ruth, and the plaque is wonderful that we have on the door, that it
Mhm.
wouldn't be a bad thing to have a photo. But I have a recollection, not documented, that I had a conversation with Mark as the donor about what his wishes were when
Oh,
the donation was made for this room, and I want to be 100%
Good.
sure. First of all, they're comfortable with the photo, the concept and the photo. I would like to make
Mhm.
sure that we're staying in line with what they wanted.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really any precedent for, the donor forever has control over a room that's been they've donated to. It's more of a goodwill
Yes.
Yeah.
effort to
I agree.
communicate before we make that
That's
change.
true, and time marches on. One thing about it too is people will then say, well, what did she do and what is this? Why was the room named? Maybe if we're about to do that, should there also be a little blurb about what she
Yes.
contributed to the library world in
Definitely.
Petersburg?
Mhm.
Yes.
That would be.
If we
Yeah.
do this, I have one question about that, and what about then the other conference room and the families that we've dedicated that, and should they be approached that and let know that we are doing this for Ruth?
Yep,
Does it open up a can of worms? Do we want to do that?
yep.
I mean, if we're going to do one, I feel like we should offer it to the other,
Good-
but then
good
what about
comments.
all the sections of the library that,
Mhm.
I mean, it does, on the other hand, open.
Remind you of anything?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does sort of bring up some thoughts.
Yes, it
That's
does.
why I brought it to you
Okay.
for a vote.
I hate to play
Because
devil's-
my initial
Yeah,
reaction
think about all sides.
is that if you name a room after a human, that it would be nice. I mean, as if I were coming from out of town and, saw this, like, okay, well, I've had this experience at a school once where I saw a woman's name and then I went inside and I found out who she was because I was curious.
Yeah,
I wanted to know why this library was named after this woman,
right.
you know? And it turned out she was a much beloved headmistress, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I like the idea initially, but I think we could make some sort of, we do it for a room, but we don't do it for sections.
Right.
And is there a minimum amount that you donate to have a room named after you or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
That's
Yeah.
already
All
established.
policy.
And the plaques on the door, both for the Sandvik room and the Helmy Jensen community room, both say, and Marilyn's gonna open the door and I'm gonna read it for the record, what it says. It says,
Ah.
in honor of Bruce Sandvik, Petersburg's first professional librarian and prime builder of the library system we all enjoy today.
I
By
like
Sandvik.
it. That's perfect. Do we
It's
need
already
more
there.
than that?
No.
That's something you guys need to discuss.
So the photo of her
If
would
we
be,
need more than that, can it be in our little brochure at the front desk?
Right. This is what I'm,
Yes. Yes, it could be a QR code.
oh,
It could be
A
something on our
QR code.
website that we
Oh.
direct people to.
ooh.
That's
QR
actually
code,
kind of an
ooh.
interesting idea.
there we go, so. a
Because I
QR
think
code.
what it says now is short and sweet and, probably enough for the
Yep.
curious outsider. I mean, to me, that's perfectly satisfying information as
I
who, what,
agree.
why.
Without a photo, are you saying the photo would be?
Oh, I don't think a photo in the room is a bad idea, I feel a little bit ambivalent about that. This
But what,
particular photo, I don't think is a great photograph.
no,
I don't think it is either.
I
It
agree.
would almost be, it would,
Be
when I
contingent
saw
on
it, I
family.
almost thought that we could look for
something
somebody
better.
to paint it.
I was
Portrait
thinking the
of
same
her.
thing with, we have so many great artists, could we do an artist rendition of Ruth or? Well, we already have a quilt representing her here with a facsimile of her done in fabric on the wall.
Well, yeah, that brings up how many do you put in the room? I mean, if we already have that, maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm not
I'll
sure.
hinge on whether the family wants it too, so I mean, is it
True.
worth us saying yes or no to this?
It actually all
extent?
hinges
If
on
it-
what you guys decide, asking the family is a courtesy in the context of
Um,
any written.
I don't
policies
think we would
have.
ever add a photo of somebody without the family's consent, especially if you have an undocumented thing personally.
Yeah, I think it's for you guys to decide if that's a path that should be pursued or
The
not. It
path
doesn't have
of
to be
even
pursued.
extending.
Yeah.
The question to the family.
Yeah.
Is what we have to decide.
Yes.
Or even, yes, even considering
Mhm.
the concept.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I agree, Lizzie.
Well, a photograph. I mean, if you
Well-
pick the right photograph, it can almost be a little time marker historically.
How old was she when she was so involved in the library? Was she in her
It was
thirties,
her
40s?
career.
Whole
This whole
career.
career. So do you want
Probably
a
60,
a younger-
70 years.
do you want a younger photo, an older photo?
Well,
What?
that I think would be up to the family. So our question only right now is, do we even want to consider this? And if so. I feel if we do want to consider it, we do need to ask the family.
Yes,
Okay, so we've all established that we can agree upon. Our question is, do we even want to consider this? It could be a moot point. They may just come back with, not
Yes.
necessary, we have what we want. Exactly. But if we do extend it to the family and they say, well, that's a great idea, then we would have to consider the ramifications of that decision. And also probably then extend it to The Paulson family.
Yes,
Or
Jensen,
It
Jensen
quickly
Paulson.
becomes awkward. Personally,
Pardon?
I think it could quickly become awkward personally.
Yes.
People have
Why?
such different taste buds, and then, are we gonna say, if we're gonna put a picture of the person?
And who picks the picture? What if they pick one that we look at and kind of go,
Yeah, and then you get into the whole, like you said, at what age? Is that gonna be sort of something we try to have, are we gonna try to uniform it, make it uniform throughout the building? If you do that, how do you do?
a lot
So,
of questions.
Would it be possible to have a section of the website available for Ruth Sandvik bio, Helmy Jensen bio, and anybody else that we want to recognize, like Sally Reamer, or have?
It would be, I'd almost prefer to have that as a conversation outside of
Yes,
this.
right, right.
Cause
Yeah.
that's a bit of work unto
And
itself.
would that be enough?
Well, like, was it you who pointed out someone walking into the library and looking at it off a cruise ship or something and kind of going, well, I wonder who Ruth Sandvik was. Just having a visual wouldn't be a bad thing. Oh, look at Ruth, there she is. How about that? She looks like a nice person. And it's kind of cool. I agree that when I go places, I look for those kind of
I
historical
like a visual.
things.
Yeah.
And then we have an example of it up at the high school, it's like right on the turn.
Right on a triangle,
There's a
raised
ticket.
Stedman Elementary.
Right, right.
The pictures are there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
of the namesake,
Yeah.
in that respect.
And our standard has been these things on the door that have a little bio, but
Yeah.
picture. Oh, and there's also the children's room, which Karen Hofstad,
Oh,
she has one just like that.
okay.
So there's another major dome room.
how about the teen room? Does
The
that,
teen room does not have a major dome.
Oh.
No. But those are the three bigger
Mhm.
spaces.
Teens are so.
Yeah. No sponsor for them.
would that be awkward not having a sponsor on one of the rooms?
No, no one's
No.
even noticed.
Okay.
But then, yeah, you guys probably should construct policies around what spaces are eligible for that kind
Yes.
of treatment, 'cause we have
Yes, it
smaller
would be-
spaces.
Right,
does help
I,
to do,
Yeah, there's lots of, and every single one of them has been donated by a family. or
Yes.
a person. Um,
That's the
Or
thing, are we
Steve
gonna have
could not.
pictures all over the library of people? I mean, if people,
Okay, now.
Which
I'm
goes back
back
to the idea of a QR code or something,
Yeah.
if somebody wants more information.
yeah, I
about
think
Yes.
that's a great idea. It's just
I-
a QR
I'm
code
having-
that goes to a,
problem with these photos popping up everywhere.
It's a great idea, but it doesn't.
I'm in the room, I don't know.
And the QR code could have have a photo or
Yes,
something.
It could be a
photo
lot.
and bio.
photo and bio.
A bio, and I bet there is an interview with Ruth Sandvik.
But then we've got, then
We have
we're
links.
maintaining the control over the ambiance of the building.
Yes,
Right.
And the environment.
Exactly, it is
I
important
think
because
that's because, yeah, we would be opening up a can of
Yep.
worms.
Because
This
the
is-
aesthetic
this
here
was
is
really
very,
good.
very beautiful and.
it creates a large job.
I was at the museum yesterday and there was a guy in there looking at the exhibit. And he said, oh, I'm from Ketchikan. And I'm just looking around because I'm thinking maybe I want to move here. I said, have you been to the library yet? So I said, it's a block away and I'm on my way there. And I walked with him and his first reaction in seeing the library. Wow. I mean, from the outside, and then he walked in and saw all the local artwork. He was, well, and then Barb found one of the brochures that explains all the artwork, and he walked around the whole building.
Okay, so,
So do we wanna percolate on this for a month?
well, I wondered
do
if
we
we
wanna-
want to table the discussion
Mhm.
Well,
and,
we don't have a motion yet, so we don't have anything to take.
oh, I see.
But percolating on it till the next meeting and letting, at least our other two board members have a chance
Yes,
to buy in.
I
and
think
us to
so.
Think about it.
I like
But
that,
we're,
yeah.
just to summarize though, we're looking at not approving this request for a picture in the room,
Mhm.
but countering with a QR code
Mhm.
with pictures and bio and And they can have whatever say they want on that.
Yeah,
That's what we're tending towards, but we're not making a
Yes.
decision tonight. Does that sound right?
that sounds, I like that.
Okay,
Yes, I'm not sure how you put that in writing, but
Do we
yes.
make a motion?
do we need to make a motion to? Well, I can't table it because we don't have, we just need to make a motion that this item.
To move this item to
Move this
our
item
next
to
agenda.
our next agenda.
Yeah.
For further discussion after more thought. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did I just make a motion?
I think so.
Yeah,
I make
I'll
a
second
motion.
it.
Yes,
What I just said.
yes,
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
I feel good about that.
I do too.
Because at first it seemed a slam dunk, oh, great idea.
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
the
me
more you
too.
start thinking about the policy.
That's why we talked about that.
That's why it pays, to- yeah,
And what will probably be on our next agenda is actually the donation policy. That's because we were so packed today, I didn't put it on.
Yeah.
but A review of that is actually on the horizon for our
Oh,
next
okay.
meeting anyway, so it'll
Good,
be interesting
perfect.
It'd be
to
good to review.
review it.
Yeah.
And like that, to have, yeah, a real life scenario sitting alongside the policy review would be an interesting conversation.
but in the meantime, Tara, what do you need to do with Joe and Mark, if anything?
I don't think I should do anything with Mark because you guys have not
Right,
given
yeah.
me the green light on that.
But Joe, you
with
need to-
Joe, I'll check in with Joe and let
Yeah.
him know that you guys tabled it for further consideration.
Perfect.
Yeah, it became
And
complicated.
there's
Yeah.
a chance he might be able to, he's out of town, so there's a chance he might attend the next meeting and
Yeah.
talk about
Okay.
these issues.
All right, great. So moving on to discussion items, A, report from member O'Gara on the 2024 International Conference of Indigenous.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try to do this in very short order, and not cover everything that I wanted to, but I attended in November. I don't know if you can see this.
She actually, her camera is here.
Where is it? Oh,
That's her
there.
camera, yeah.
This is the Association of Travel Archives, Libraries and Museums, and they have an annual conference every year. I've heard about this organization, but I've never been to it.
Mm,
Holy smokes. So I'm just gonna pass this around. It's packed full. I was quite intimidated because there's like 200 workshops packed into 2 days.
Wow.
Plus
oh my God.
a pre-day that was also packed. The primary areas of focus for this conference is tribal archives, languages, libraries, and museums. But in fact, what the main focus, what's also interwoven into this is art and expression that is interwoven throughout. I was quite amazed as an artist and I went as a researcher working on my dissertation, hoping to be able to talk to archivists and libraries on how to better find information. But I found so much more. It was just amazing. Now, as it pertains to the information that I was able to gather, it's hard to even remember what workshops I went to because I was like cruising around all over the place and talking to people. But the things that came up that pertain to this board and what we do here was, there's stuff about, that there's an organization that did a workshop called StoryCorps. And it was fabulous, and it just mirrors our homegrown conversation.
Yeah,
There's also another organization that did a couple of workshops called StoryBridge, same kinds of things, looking for the stories in the communities and looking for ways to be able to preserve those. There is also workshops on grant writing and federal funding, which I know is going to be a huge topic in this coming years. Preserving traditional knowledge, and then library technology was also in there. Of course, when I prepared this kind of brief report for you all, I focused just on the libraries. I didn't go to all the library workshops because I wasn't there for the library, I was there for my own thing. There was also a couple of folks from Southeast Alaska there, and I should tell you, there was people from every state in the union and Canada and some other countries. So it was pretty, even though it's not billed as an international conference, there was a lot of representation internationally.
wow.
And it wasn't all, even though the focus is on tribal programs and indigenous knowledge, it wasn't all indigenous folks. So it was, everybody who's got their finger or is looking for or working in indigenous communities and knowledge. Kate was there, doing a presentation on how they're doing oral history and podcasts. So there's some, contemporary forms that are happening. There was, books, there was a promotion of books and a lot of authors. There was like these sort of, they were almost like pop-up artists, authors signing their own books in pop-up forms. It was really, that would last 15 minutes. So if you had a book and you wanted it signed, you had to get over there really fast. There was also, and I think this is on, where there was one I wanted to mention. Oh, on page 70 on the thing. There was, and this must have been before the time, because this was in November, the election was just happening, right? There was a workshop that if I had seen it, I would have gone to it, that was talking about the diversity, equity, and inclusion policies across disciplines and how to promote those and protect them, which would be really good now. There was a lot of exhibitors in the last, I think, couple of pages in there. There's a whole list of all the exhibitors that there was there. So there was exhibitors that did displays and how to catalog your materials and all kinds of things. Okay. The reason I went was to look at research and archives, and I got so much more because the art and traditions, as I said, were just woven throughout. And I want to highlight the cover, if you can really hold up the cover of that. That piece of art that's the cover was done by an artist who was highlighted, as well as Lily Hope, who is an artist a textile artist, and one of my teachers in Juneau was also a featured artist. But the gentleman who did this was from the local area in Palm Springs. And that is 8 feet long or 8 feet in diameter. And it's made out of crushed beer and cans.
Oh,
Which I
geez.
totally missed until you.
I did too. I
Just
thought it was a-
But you know what? I missed it
Oh,
too
yeah.
until I got ready for this report and I read it in the front,
Wow.
in the front of it.
It's like the minute you said it, you see it, but it was.
Yeah.
Hold it up again for Lizzie.
So
Wow.
there's also a really fun thing to,
Oops, sorry. Got it.
they're really moving towards helping to create.
Lizzie has to talk for the camera, so
You have to talk, Lizzie.
you have,
I have to talk, somebody talk.
we lost.
Somebody.
That
Just come, when you're back, when you're available, come by and I'll show
Sure it
you.
is.
I can,
I
I can send her.
But they're really focusing on creating, and this was a completely new to me, but the one workshop I did go to that was fascinating was how to create archives for artists.
Archives for.
And so the artistic work that is being produced, how do you archive that? Totally, it was like, what? Yeah, it was really fun. I am planning on going to next year's one. It's gonna be in October in Cherokee, North Carolina, which is beautiful in October. And I'm doing I put in a proposal to talk about the evolution of Raven's tail and Chilkat weaving, and also one with Lily and one other textile artist, the three of us doing a workshop on something called, well, Lily did it this last year. She called it 1 square inch of ceremony, which is just doing literally 1 square inch of Chilkat weaving and promoting it as participating in ceremony while you're putting that together. And but she could only, I mean, she was like, had a room full of 40 people and an hour and a half trying to do it. She says, I can't do that. So there's 3 of us that are gonna try to do it.
Wow.
And, yeah, so if anybody wants to go, it's just like amazing.
It sounds fabulous.
Yeah,
It
it's really
does.
amazing. It's like, and I'm gonna try to go this next year and go day, so I'm there for the day, the pre-day, and there's also events the day after it ends, the conference ends, so.
Were there, I looked and saw, for example, how to care for feathers, a session on that
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
You know, and are there how-to sessions in the arts? And so like form line design possibly?
Not necessarily, there's a couple of them, but that's not really the focus, but it's, I mean, I could just touch on just
So
just some
children's
highlights.
books, I saw one on children's
Yeah.
literature and.
There was one on collaboration between state and tribal libraries. How best to do that with some examples that
Yeah.
are happening around. And there was also one, making books with children.
Ooh, that's a fun one. Sounds great.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Mhm.
Like getting them to
Yeah.
actually do the books.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's
it's
just
like
thank you.
endless what you can do.
way too many things.
Very
Wow.
exciting. I love those kind of conferences. They are, but I agree, it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yes.
And you know, by the end of it, you're just like, whoo.
I know.
It sounds like
Thank
Kari
you.
Peterson should go with you.
What?
It sounds like Kari Peterson should go to it.
Yeah, she would go bananas.
Yeah, she would, and Barb. both
And
of
Barb
them.
too, yeah.
We should all go. We can make it
There you go.
a board.
We could have our board meeting there.
I think, yes, this would be a good use of some of the funds that are just sitting in those bank
Sitting
accounts.
there, yes.
Yeah.
The extra funds, yeah.
Wonderful.
And of course, going to Palm Springs is fabulous. I
Yeah.
love Palm
I do
Springs,
too. It's a great place.
as long as it's not July or August.
No.
All right, and then moving along, Friends of the Library updates. Friends held their annual meeting Saturday, December 28th, 2024. They voted to sponsor the purchase of board games, game programs a year, the reading program, and the summer reading challenge. So a lot to cover. Let's hear the details.
Okay, real quick,
A
since
quick
we're running out
summary. Yeah, we're
of
running
time.
late.
We just, the book sale is April 5th, which is a Saturday, so
Right.
the sign will be up in front of the library. Book sale, and then once we take that down, we're going to put up National Library Week. Because it starts the next day, so I'm not sure where that banner is. But
We'll work on that.
you're working, yes,
Yeah.
so that way we can have the banner up, and then, so anybody who wants to donate books, the library's closed the Monday, it's Seward's Day, I believe, March 31st. So April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we have the Helmy Jensen Conference Room, and we can accept donations those 4 days.
Great.
Okay, and then the showing, I haven't watched the movie yet, so, but Tuesday, April 6th at 6 PM, and we talked about the Friends. In fact, your name came up, Mary Ellen, is well, we're gonna have maybe punch, coffee, cookies, something available.
Is the Friends gonna have another meeting to discuss these
I
details?
don't know.
I
Uh,
think Barb
Sue
Stelz,
and
will
Sue?
call, and Sue and a few other folks
Sue
that wanna
Paulson.
participate. will be-
Yes, and Sue and Kathy Conlon are going to do an article for the pilot.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly what that's going to tell, but Sue is the chair for that particular day
For the day
of
the
the
book
film
sale.
show,
Oh,
no,
the film show.
the film showing April 6th.
So they're doing an ad for the film showing and
Yes.
and they're in charge of that day.
There'll be an ad in the pilot for the book sale and also
Great.
National Library Week. There'll be the 2 Thursdays before the book sale.
Okay, great. Sounds,
And that's,
sounds like a great
yeah,
all around
Mhm.
celebration. I'm excited to that.
yeah.
For that. Any other comments? Any questions for Barb? Thanks, Barb. That was a very well done,
Concise.
succinct, and, you know, told it all.
Oh, anybody who wants to help,
Yeah, setting
start
up.
setting up, I will
When will that
gladly,
start?
that starts Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Tuesday, 11 a.m. and will be ongoing all week long.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
yes.
Great, I would say have all hands on deck.
That's
if
all,
anyone's
and
interested.
Mary Clemens is definitely going to be there as well.
Yeah,
so
I'll start showing up for that too.
Yeah.
I know that setting up is a lot of.
It is a lot of work. It takes the 4 days just to get everything.
And then takedown will happen at the end.
Yes,
I'll be there for that.
good thing. I'll let Mary know that, yeah,
Yeah.
good, okay.
I just assume I'm always gonna be there. Cleanup is the hard
Yes, you
part.
are. You're good at that.
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
It's horribly
No.
difficult to do.
It is, but you can do it.
Okay, moving on, C, future of library collections budget. Two potential funding cuts on the horizon. Should I read all that, or do you wanna just talk about
I
it?
can paraphrase it if you
Okay.
prefer. Yeah, so I didn't include this in the budget vote that we took because this is speculative. But Mary Ellen approached me with a question specifically about federal funding in the
Yeah.
library. And I was like, why not just let you guys all know? Because I'm sure it's something that's being popped into your head. So I have no specific answers, but I can say that we receive an annual grant in cooperation with the Petersburg Canadian Association, known as the IMLS Institute for Museum and Library
Mhm.
Services Basic Grant. And so that's in addition to the $27,000 that you see in our budget for books and DVDs.
Oh,
That's
addition.
That's in addition.
okay.
And so that potentially, I would say that's probably it might be on a list somewhere of things that they're looking at for cutting. So I will keep you guys posted if I hear anything concrete. At this
Okay.
point, this is not concrete.
Can I ask for
Yeah.
restatement there? So there's a $20,000 budget,
27.
27 normal.
Yeah.
Which really isn't that much for this library this size.
But it says library materials. That's more than books, isn't
Books
it?
and DVDs.
Yeah.
That's it? Oh,
So we
Okay.
spent
That much.
$37,000. We're
Right,
able to do that because it's
so
10,000.
without that $10,000, that's quite a
Would
bit.
drop
Yeah.
to 20.
Yeah.
$27,000, yeah.
Wow.
So that's the first potential. The second, there was, and we didn't really talk about it as a board, but there was, initially what we thought would be a cut to the $7,000 non-competitive grant that we get from the state of Alaska, and that is included in that 27. It's
Oh.
an important distinction. So if this were cut, it would bring our base budget in the general fund down to $20,000. So this past year, it was originally not axed out, but brought down to almost nothing. By the state library. It was threatened, seriously threatened by the state library. And then there was some activity and discussion. I met with Rebecca Himshoot about it.
Mhm.
And she's been a wonderful advocate for rehabilitating that funding this year. And so we have the funding this year.
Oh,
We don't really know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
But I would assume that, but it's probably not an issue that's going to go away necessarily.
No.
So the Durley group, who I've talked about, they're like the directors of Alaska's largest public libraries group. They're a group that, believe it or not, we're the smallest of the largest. And so they're working on it, and I'm helping with a little bit of advocacy to try and keep that funding in place. Because while it's not a make it or break it amount for us, it is a make it or break it amount for the small libraries in the state of Alaska. I think Craig and
Yeah.
Guna, think libraries like that.
Yeah.
They, this is, for some of them, their only source of revenue.
Wow.
And we close them. It'd be,
Yeah.
it would be dramatic. It
Mhm.
wouldn't be dramatic for us. It would be dramatic for them.
Wow.
Well, it'll be impactful for us.
It'd be
I mean, if
impactful
we
for
lost the
us.
10 and the 7, then
Yeah.
that brings us down to 20,000, which is what I had as the budget for the elementary library 1 year.
Oh, wow.
One very spectacular year.
Yeah.
And that year I got all the Bill Nye the Science Guy DVD. No, the library here paid for that. The grant here paid for the Bill Nye the Science Guy DVD.
Because how much is postage for me, if a book's on hold and it comes from another library, where would that be under
That lives in our communications budget.
communications? That includes postage, okay.
All right, well, thank you, I guess, for that report. Thank you. No, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And I'll keep you updated if there's
Yeah,
anything that actually happens that's tangible.
right.
Yeah.
All right, and then on to D. 8D is gratitudes and recognitions, community members who play a part in improving the library. And this month, special recognition is extended to Chris Norris for her longstanding support for youth programs at the library and for her recent donation in memory of her mother, Jo Norris. Matt Briner for making the library bright and beautiful for another holiday season. Sally Reamer for her many years of service on the library board and Friends of the Library. Is there another page?
Yep.
Oh, yes. So, Keith Anderson for overseeing the mechanical system issues and keeping the library warm. All right,
And I'm wondering if anyone would be interested in doing cards.
well, that's what I wondered. That's my next question. is
I can make the
should we
cards
send-
available.
Thank you.
Lizzie does wonderful thank you cards.
But she's out of town.
Oh,
And actually, what
mind.
I've written here gives you.
She's gonna say yes.
She said that I don't mind, didn't you? Did I hear you say I don't mind?
I don't mind.
yeah, she's the best. You
All
are, Lizzie.
So Lizzie, the details, are you able to do it from where you are, or would you like to wait until you come back?
I can do it from where I am.
Okay,
Where are you, by the way?
I'm at my mother's house in Michigan.
Oh,
Our house is under construction, so we can't come home. But, I mean, I'm getting to the point now where I want to like beg Petersburg to find a place for us to come home to. I don't know, it might be another couple months till we can come home.
Check with Sue Erickson.
Okay,
Someone just moved out of her little red house. I don't know if that's doable.
I don't know what that means for Little
It's
Red.
next door to her house.
it's a
Oh.
rental.
Oh, maybe we could,
In her
rent-
and Sig.
okay,
Just a thought.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, Tara, do you want me to write them and then just put them all in one envelope and send them to you?
yeah, that would work.
Okay,
Yeah, just let me
Thank
know
you.
what you need, if anything.
Very much, thank you, because that's hard for me to do, that sort of thing.
And
Yeah, let's find a place
Lizzie's
for you to
really
live,
good.
Lizzie.
okay, I
So
don't
now-
know Keith at all, but just, I'll thank him.
Yes.
And it seems to me the Friends decided to send Matt Reiner a,
Oh, I think they donate to Campus K in his name, don't they?
no, we
Something
don't,
like
we, I think we let him donate to his, I don't
Charity of his
remember,
choice. and he
the
chose
charity of
Campus K.
his choice.
Yeah.
But I think we made it, but I don't, Sue Paulson's in charge of that, so I don't know how
Yeah.
much was decided, and it may be $200, I don't.
All right, then moving along, next meeting tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, April 8th. Anyone have a conflict that they know
Not yet, not right now.
of? Okay, so we'll tentatively schedule that. And the next item is adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I think Julie should second it.
Yay.
Did you? Yes. Yeah, I know.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And. see
Really
everybody
nice
next
to
time.
see you all.
Nice to
Thank
see you,
Good to see
Lizzie.
you. Take care.
Bye.
Wow, we don't normally go over time, do we?